Alright, I am making this video. I haven't made a video in a few weeks. Um, let's see, probably, oh man, probably it's been 2 or 3 weeks since I've made a video. But anyway, I want to talk to the doctor who said that I haven't improved a great deal to be able to take the driving test at Sanford. Um, so anyway, you have no idea what you're talking about, okay? Because for one thing, you're going to have some people who have had a stroke who worked in their rehab, in their, when they were going through the rehabilitation of being able to walk and do different things. Okay. They worked extremely hard to get to be able to do that, to do the things that they could do before they had the stroke. Okay. Um, I am one of them. I worked extremely hard after I had my stroke on April 3rd, 2016. Okay. Even though I didn't know I'd had a stroke until a week after I had it, I worked extremely hard in physical therapy. I worked as hard as I have ever in my life. And every day, every single day, I worked as hard as I could and did as much as I could that day. And I got to the point where I was almost, by the time I left the VA hospital, June, it's almost exactly 2 years ago. I got to the point where I was almost back to where I was before I had the stroke. I was back to the point where if you'd watched me walk, you never would have guessed that I'd had a stroke. Never in a million years would have guessed that I had had a stroke. Okay. Because of the hard work I put in physical therapy. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I worked as hard as I possibly could every single day. Even when I did it 2 days a week. Monday through Friday. I would go down there at 9 o'clock and at 3. And when I first got to the VA hospital after my stroke, I was in a wheelchair. I had someone wheel me everywhere I went. I couldn't even wheel myself. They wouldn't even let me wheel myself when I first got there. Okay. Eventually, they were allowed me to wheel myself there. I could wheel myself all over wherever I wanted to go. And after I kept working and working and working on my physical therapy, I got to the point where I had a walker. you know, and it is right there. That is the walker I got when I was in the VA hospital. You know, you notice that it's nice and folded up and leaning next to the wall because I don't need it as a walker anymore. Why? Because I worked so hard at the VA hospital that it was, after a while, it was totally useless for me as a walker. I didn't, by the time I was, let's see, I think by the time I'd been there a month, by the time I had been at the VA hospital, it was, I didn't need it anymore. I was still required to take it with me, but when I went down to physical therapy, physical rehab, I was still required to take it with me when I did that, but I didn't need it. I would just carry it with me. you know, they were, yeah. I mean, it's, so you're gonna have people like that who've had strokes. Okay, not everybody who has a stroke is completely disabled and can't do anything for themselves. I do almost everything for myself. Even, it was after midnight. Yesterday was the last day that I had a nurse from Sanford come and do my meds for me. Why? Because they figured, and rightfully so, that I could do it myself. I didn't need someone to come and do my meds for me. I don't need someone to do that. I can do them. I did them myself for a while. Before I had my stroke, I was pretty lazy, and wasn't the best at taking my meds when I should have, and that's probably the reason why I had my stroke, is because of that. But anyway, so now it's up to me to do that. Now it is up to me to do my meds, to put my meds into the, let's see if we can see if, yeah, you can see the, let's see if you can see that or not. Well, anyway, yeah, it's a thing back there that has a container for each day to put my meds into. I mean, even Sanford realized that I could do it myself, that I didn't need a nurse to do it. Even at the time, they said that they would have a nurse do that. I was like, well, I can do it myself, but if you're going to have a nurse come and do it for me, then okay, fine. That's fine with me. Hey, I was okay with that. If they're going to have a nurse come and do it for me, that's fine with me. And then check my vital signs and make sure I'm doing okay. I was like, okay, fine. But now they're like, hey, we don't need to send a nurse. You can do it yourself. I'm like, okay, that's fine with me too. You are going to have people who've had a stroke who are almost completely back to normal. Okay. When I had the stroke, I was maybe here, and now I'm here. My question for the person who says that haven't improved a great deal: how am I supposed to improve a great deal when I'm just below where I was before I had the stroke? Am I supposed to be better than when I had the stroke? That's the only way I can do that, you know? So I'm almost completely back to normal where I was before I had the stroke. Okay. So then, what do you want me to do? Be better than I was before I had the stroke? If I'm here, do I have to be up here and this is where I was at when I had the stroke? I mean, come on. You let people that have had, who can only use one hand, you've got a knob on the steering wheel to let people, drive who can only use one arm. You've got a knob on the steering wheel so people can do that. And you also have some foot pedals on the floor so that you can let people who can only use one leg drive. You'll make a concession for them. You'll allow them to take the driving test because they've improved a lot, where maybe couldn't use either. Maybe they were paralyzed and then were able to use one arm and one leg, so they improved a great deal. So then you're like, oh hey, they should be able to. We'll let them take the driving test then. But you won't let me, who has never needed that. I've never had one side paralyzed to where I couldn't use one arm or one leg, or even, I've never been in that situation. Never. But yet, he hasn't improved enough to be able to take the driving test. Why can't you understand that you are going to have stroke victims, stroke survivors who are almost completely back to normal, to where they don't need to do that, in which they're never going to improve a great deal to be able to take the test. Okay? They're almost back to where they were when they had their stroke. Why should they be denied the chance to do that, to take the test? I mean, come on. People like that, people like myself, who take care of themselves, don't have any help, who do almost everything for themselves, who just get a ride once in a while. I get a ride to church. Well, now I just get a ride to church, but then for the most part, I do everything myself. I don't have my family, I don't have my friends. I just get a ride to church every Sunday, and that is about it. That is the only thing, almost the only thing that other people do for me. And the only reason why I can't do that is because idiot doctors don't want me to take the test. Idiot doctors like that one who said, that I haven't improved a great deal. That's the only reason why I can't drive myself, is because of people like them who don't understand what it's like to have a stroke, who don't understand what it's like to be a stroke survivor. They're a doctor. They're supposed to know what it's like, to know what's best for us. But they don't, because you're not going to have everybody who's totally has to go through a lot of rehab to be able to take the driving test. You know, I worked my butt off to be able to get to where I am. You know, I worked extremely hard. You know, you see me walking, you would never guess that I'd had a stroke. Ever guess. You know, but yet, oh no, we can't let you take the driving test. You've improved a lot. You know, people who take care of themselves and people who live on their own, take care of themselves, have other people do almost nothing for them, should wait 6 months, take the driving test. They fail, wait another 6 months, take it again. You know, that should be, it should have, they should be able to take the test every 6 months if they have to, before passing it, if they have to. If they take it 30 times, 6 months, every 6 months, for 30 times if they have to, that should be the way it is. But people who think they know a lot about people who've had strokes and stroke victims and stroke survivors don't understand that. The doctor who said that, the doctor said that I shouldn't be able to take the driving test because I haven't improved a great deal, doesn't understand as much as he thinks he does. Okay? He doesn't understand what it's like to have had a stroke. He doesn't understand that when you are able to take care of yourself, when you do almost everything yourself, for yourself, with almost no help from anybody, you should be able to take the driving test, no matter if you've improved a great deal or not. It's where you are compared to where you were before you had the stroke. That should make a difference. That should be what's important. Just because, if you're way down here and you got moved it up a little bit, to where, you improved a great deal, but yet, you were at the point where you couldn't use either of your arms or legs. You can use any of them. But then you worked really hard in physical therapy to where you were able to use one of them, one side. Oh, you improved a great deal, so you can take the test. It's like, come on. That doesn't make any sense. You're going to let them take the test, and yet you're not going to let somebody like me who does almost everything for myself. That's stupid. That's stupid. Okay? If you have a doctor, a PhD, you should give that thing back, because you don't understand what it's like to have had a stroke. Okay? You don't understand what it's like from their perspective. Okay? And you don't understand enough about having a stroke to be able to understand that people who do things for themselves and people who live on their own, do almost everything for themselves, should be able to take the test whenever, every 6 months, that they take it. If they have to take it 30 times before passing it, well, that's the way it should be. You know, unless you get it, unless you have another stroke, you're almost like right here, right below where you were. Unless you have another stroke and go way down, you should be able to do that. You know, I mean, you claim to be a doctor, but yet you don't understand that. You know, you aren't that smart, okay? You don't know enough about having survived a stroke to understand that there are going to be some people like that. You're going to have some people who are almost completely back to normal before, back to the normal before they had the stroke, because a lot of times you end up having a new normal. Well, when you've had a stroke, if you're like, this is where you were before you have a stroke, and this is where you are after you have a stroke, and you work really hard to get it up to really close, then that's it. That's all it takes to be able to take the driving test. If you do that, but then again, these people who have a doctor's degree think, oh, I know what, they think, oh, I have a doctor's degree. I know what's best for somebody who's had a stroke. No, you don't. If you don't understand that, you don't know what's best for somebody who's had a stroke. If I do the same thing that I did when I failed the test the first time, that's fine with me. I'll accept that. I will accept that, and I'll go, okay, back to the drawing board. And, the next time I take it, I'll try to correct my mistake that I made that caused me to fail it the previous times. If I can do that, then I should get my license back. If I don't, then I shouldn't. Simple as that. But anyway, a lot of people, a lot of people don't expect you to be able to do that. A lot of people don't expect you to be able to take care of yourselves. It's like, come on, people. Why did you have such low expectations of me? Why didn't you think, of course Nate can take care of himself? Until I proved that I couldn't. Why did you have that attitude of, well, I wonder if Nate can take care of himself? Why did you think that? Why did you have that thought in mind? I don't know if Nate can take care of himself. Why didn't you think, of course he can? Until you come to my place and I prove to you that I can't take care of myself. Okay? That my place is a complete mess. Well, it's not only a complete mess, but that I had rotten food all over the place, that I looked like I was trying out for an episode of Horrors. That it was obvious that I couldn't take care of myself. That I would crap all over the place. That you would do that if you were either old and senile, or that it was obvious that I couldn't take care of myself. If I'd crapped all over the place and or peed all over the place and made it obvious that I couldn't take care of myself, then yeah, then you do have, then I should be taken care of. But why did you think that was going to happen before I moved back to my place here? Why did you think that I couldn't take care of myself before I did that? Why didn't you assume, on the other hand, that I was going to be able to take care of myself? That's what I would like to know. Why did you think the worst about me instead of the best? You know? Think about it. Why did you do that? Why did you think so terrible of me that you were like, well, I wonder if Nate's going to take care of himself or not? I mean, thank you for thinking so lowly of me. Thinking so badly of me that I wouldn't be able to take care of myself. You know? Yeah, thanks a lot. Anyway, I mean, I've got a lot of people that don't want me to move to Arizona, that think I'm crazy if I do that want me to stay here where this is paid for and I don't have to pay very much to stay here. You know, the same people who think that I can't, who thought that I couldn't, that wondered if I would be able to take care of myself, are also the same ones who want me to stay here. You know? Well, okay. Okay, well, if you'd had your way, I would probably still be being taken care of in a nursing home, which is where I was living at before I came back here. If you'd had your way, I would still be there. And still wasting my money paying somebody to do things for me that I could do myself. You know, because they provide the meals for you. They pretty much took care of me when I was there. And yet, I don't need someone to prepare the meals for me. I can do that I can do that myself. I don't need to pay someone to do that. I don't need to have somebody clean my room. Well, it'd be nice. It would definitely be nice, but I don't need to pay someone to do that. Anyway, yeah, so. But why pay money to people who, when you can do it yourself, you know, I can get a job, I can work at a job, I can have a good, decent income, you know. If the idiot doctor who says that I can't drive understood that I'm almost back to normal, I can drive. If I fail the test, fine, I'll accept it. But to say no, oh, you can't drive, you can't take the test, no, that is wrong. Okay? And I will prove you're wrong when I take the test and I pass the test. Then I will prove you wrong and that you should not be a doctor responsible for people who've had strokes. You should not be somebody who does that. Okay? Because you don't understand some things about that. Somebody else who's a doctor who understands those things should be in that position, but you should not be, because you don't understand what it's like to have had a stroke. You know, you don't understand that every stroke is different. Every person who's had a stroke is different, and every stroke, every stroke survivor and every stroke is different than the other one, than the next one. Everyone is different. Every stroke recovery is different. Okay? Every stroke victim is different. Every stroke is different. And every stroke recovery is different. That is a fact. If you can't understand that, then you should not be a doctor helping people who have had strokes, because you don't understand enough to be able to do that job. Anyway, this has been a long video.